Hey guys, my name is Lauren Hollows, and today I'm lucky enough to be here with Hawkeye Consultancy, Alicia and Katja Holker. Hawkeye was founded on a deep passion for education and empowering the vet community in 2017. They emerged as a beacon of innovation, making compliance accessible. With the name inspired by their nickname, Hawkeye Holkers, bestowed for their meticulous attention to detail, Alicia and Katja have built a consultancy that not only respects the nuances of government legislation, but translates itself into bite-sized, easily digestible content for their clients. With a team boasting over 85 years of combined experience and reputation for making compliance enjoyable, Hawkeye Consultancy stands as a testament to what could be achieved with dedication, expertise, and a touch of creativity. Thank you very much, and welcome, girls.
Thank you, Lauren. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So we met last year at the Accelerate conference, which was a really cool day, actually. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do this year. And Jules had both of you guys speaking on a panel about women in vet. And we've had a few catch-ups since then. But by all means, tell us about how Hawkeye got started. You know, I think you guys have got a team of 5 or 6 in addition to yourselves now as well.
Yeah, we're up to 12 in total, including ourselves.
Wow.
And we've 10 contractors. So we've one Philippines lady, Sunshine. She's amazing. She's in the Philippines. And then we've got a contractor who's an Australian but lives in Ireland, which is a little ironic because we're Irish. So it's nice we get to see her when we go home a few times. So yeah, it's been good. We've been very fortunate. I think we probably did envision that we would, or we hoped anyway, that we would get we would keep growing and growing since we started in 2017. It was just initially myself and Alicia, so we started the company together, and it was started based on an identified need. And so we really we were working with different RTOs and various different roles, and we kind of had been exposed to some consultants, and some of which were really great. But we always identified that they kind of just lumped like an audit report on your desk and didn't really give you kind of practical solutions or a breakdown on a step-by-step guide on how to actually, implement change to get that outcome that you really required. So we decided to go out on our own. We took the leap of faith and we were like, no, we're going to do this. Mainly because of Alicia. She's definitely the driving force behind it. I'm a bit more risk avert, to be totally honest.
True.
We just decided to go for it. The first year we were quite fortunate. We got a few clients under our belt. We worked really closely with them. For that, we're very grateful that they put their trust in us.
Yeah, trust in us too.
And then, we just keep growing. We got our first employee, Milka, who's still one of our valued employees. And we got her in, she joined our team in the end of 2018. And then, we just kept growing since. And we've helped over 220 different RTOs across Australia.
Yeah.
And then we've assisted about 15.
Yeah, it's good. Predominantly, we look after Southeast Queensland just because of where we are positioned. But in light of COVID, like many organizations, it's so much more acceptable to be online. So we can service those other states as well now. If clients.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of interest from Melbourne lately, haven't we? Yeah. Since about mid last year. So that's been good. We've been traveling a lot more, which has been nice.
Vet? Did you end up in different areas of vet, or what was it what initially attracted you to vet?
So this is a funny story because I was the first one that actually went back into the education space. So I started for an RTO back in 2012, when I was just working there as administration. And I love the concept of learning, and they did a lot of professional development opportunities in-house, which is quite ironic because Kathy and I, we actually hated school.
We
didn't enjoy the process. So it's quite ironic that we are in industry.
But I think that's what we love about it. It's so different. The vet sector is so different, and it's being able to provide, I do medicine school training and assessing, and for me that getting into that sector was like, oh, there is another opportunity there. You don't have to go down the mainstream pathway of going, you know, finishing school and going into university. There are other options available that are better suited to different types of cohorts. So I think that was, really good. But Alicia got the job in.
Yeah, so I got the job, and then I was there for about 6 months, and my boss at the time, like many bosses, wouldn't allow me to progress because I was too good in my reception job. And I said, well, I want to continue to learn. I want to find out the operational components of running an RTO and running a business. And then he said, okay, I'll make you a condition. I'll only allow you to progress in a different role if you can find someone exactly like you to take over your role. And I said, okay. And my boss didn't know I was a twin. So I set up some more interviews, and I left my sister to the last interview. And he'd made a comment that there was no suitable candidates that had gone through the interviewing process as of yet. And I said, oh, no need to worry. I've left the best to last. And then I brought Katya into the boardroom, and he turned around and I said, so it looks like I'm getting that promotion then, doesn't it? And he goes, definitely does. And he was kind of a bit stunned and looked at Katya. So that was how our journey in the industry started. And then I became the executive assistant at that organization up till about 2016. And Katya compliance to IC.
Yeah, so I started in reception, taking Alicia's role, and then I was fortunate that the organization grew. So there was an opportunity, and the compliance manager at the time, Wendy, big shout out.
She was very
gave me loads of mentorship in compliance, and we had a lot of different funding contracts, so it was a really good way to learn. And then I worked my way up to IC, and then I wanted to learn more about Cricos, so I was really interested in the Cricos space. So I left that organization, and I wanted to move back to the Gold Coast. We were in Brisbane at the time, and I took a role with a Gold Coast based Cricos provider, and then learned all the things about Cricos, which was really good. And then we worked there for about 2 years, I did. And then we set up Hawkeye. We decided to go out on our own, and one of the big, I think, pivotal moments for us was like we were always eager to learn. And I felt like when we were in the organizations, although we were learning, I feel like we've learned so much from just taking that leap of faith and going in to the consultancy, because we've kind of just gone, oh, well, we have to. We've got a client now. We've got to like really, figure this out and support their needs and the different types of questions they come with. Like it really makes you kind of go, oh, wow, actually, we got to look at it from that angle. So that's been, I think,
that there's not one set approach to it. Every organization is different, and making sure that I suppose you can customize the service that you provide to them, and based on their size, based on their offerings, based on their cohorts is really, really important. And I think that's something that we do quite well, because we have organizations of all sizes, mum, dads, large ones, universities. So it's been a journey, Lauren. It's been a journey, but it's been fun.
One of the things that I did notice about you guys, and I think that it was something that resonated really well, like even with people that were coming and visiting your booth at Belg, and people that I saw talking to you at the Accelerate conference and things like that. You guys have a very calming, just practical, pragmatic approach to talking about compliance and things like that. Like it's definitely not that sort of fear-based approach. It's not panic. You take light of the situation at times. Like that was clear in in some of the little things that you had with the succulents and some of the merch that you had at the VEL conference. But you tend to have just a really just like a really calming, pragmatic, okay, if this is the problem, let's sort of deal with it. And I imagine that speaks to a lot of your clients, who probably, maybe at times go another change, or like, I don't have the time, or, like this is that's a pretty common feeling within the vet space, particularly like within the management compliance space. So I imagine that approach is really reassuring for a lot of your clients as well.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I think we didn't intend to maybe brand ourselves very much like that. We did a bit of a survey back maybe 2 years ago, and a lot of our clients had responded with fun, fresh perspective on compliance.
Less daunting.
Yeah, less daunting. Digestible was another word. So I think the key is, like, I'm not very linguistic savvy. English is not my forte. And I think just if we can make legislation and break it down and actually give people, I suppose, a solution that they actually understand and don't feel overwhelmed by, is so much more beneficial for them, their operations, and the industry overall.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think what we do can be boring at times. We need to make it fun, interactive. We're in a space where learning. If we can't envision that onto clients when we're educating them, what's their own learning going to look like in their RTO? So very much trying to be a fun, educative approach to compliance.
Yeah, and really educative. Like, that's so important to us, teaching people the why they're doing something, or why a certain document it has to be in place, but also how it can be contextualized, and the certain aspects that they need to really consider. That's so important as well, instilling that knowledge into them, and making them feel empowered so that they don't feel as stressed. They still have us there behind them if they need them, but they can have that confidence in front of a regulator, or, in front of maybe even the board if they need to suggest an idea. They feel confident. And that's something that's always been important to us.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's important as well, is that the point of the consultant is not to insert themselves into the business in large operational respects. The point of the consultant is to be that guide, that mentor, as you were talking about before we started the recording, and lead them to a point, where it's like, okay, little bird, you're mostly going to fly by yourself, and occasionally, if a big gust of wind comes and hits you, then we'll push back and we'll help you again. But the point of the deal is for you to be able to run this business by yourself. And I think that's really crucial for anyone looking for a good consultant. That should be what you're looking for. It might be initially, there's a lot of help needed in the business to like build that knowledge up and things like that. The long-term goal of any, partnership consultancy needs to be, but you're going to need me less and less. Like, the point of it is that you should need me less and less as we go through this process together. Yeah. So,
and
I know that you guys have done a little bit of everything over the period of time. Like, there's been, assessment development, there's been resource development, there's been, setups, there's been re-registrations, there's been audits. What is like what would you say is kind of the core of your business? What do you guys like doing the most? Where do you most enjoy operating?
Very different.
It's actually both of us. We have different, which is why it works really well. I suppose for our company, but I'm one of those weirdos that loves auditing, so I actually really like getting into that space and like really trying to puzzle all the pieces together and really identify what's going on in that student journey. So, or even other aspects. So I really like auditing, both CRICOS, standards, government funding. We get a lot of government funding audits that we look after. A lot of performance assessments or audits for ASQA and CRICOS. So that's where a lot of my attention really goes on. And then also professional development workshops. So train the trainer type PDs. We do those, or validation workshops. So teaching people how to properly validate So yeah, but Alicia's is
Yeah, I predominantly look after our new to entry market. So any individuals looking to set up an RTO or purchase an RTO. So we can do initial registration for vet, and then we also do Cricos or Cricos add-ons. So anyone wanting to look at, I suppose, expanding their revenue. I probably do a lot more of that operational strategic component of the RTO. So working with the high managerial agents to make sure that, I suppose, revenue streams are appropriate and that they're not relying on one particular stream. And if they are, is there a particular opportunity for another funding model to be looked at? And if so, what state would we target? What would be best based on, I suppose, their course offerings and how they can deliver in that state? Do they already have facilities and access to? And then I would look after a lot of the re-registration applications as well with the lovely Louise, because Louise helps me. She really does most of the work, to be fair. And then any ongoing support clients. So we have a lot of clients that use our services on a monthly basis, and just servicing those clients. So we normally start their particular arrangement with an audit, which will go to the audit team. And then it will be handed back over to a consultant once we have the corrective action plan or continuous improvement, whatever that might look like for an organization. And then we look at creating their compliance schedule over that 6 to 12 month period. And hopefully after that time, it's the I suppose engagement is reduced, and because we really want them to be educated enough so that they can just do it themselves, and they no longer essentially need us so hands-on, and that they can drop back to some people do.
Just give us a call as you need us, as those curly cues come up.
Yeah,
for sure.
They get full access to us at all times. Between 9 to 5, we try to make that. Well, we work a bit longer, but
we're flexible, but definitely the girl.
We try to make it just between 9 and 5 but they can reach out to anyone if they need any help. So if they've got any questions, they can give us a call or send through an email and we'll respond. Yeah,
specific guidance to their question.
Then they're probably our main areas.
Yeah, and then change of ownership, or RTO acquisitions for due diligence, and then negotiations with the brokers if we think that the RTO is somewhat overpriced, because that does happen quite a lot in our industry.
Wow.
So just if we're assisting the incoming purchaser, just giving them an idea of, okay, well, this is what's been identified as a non-compliance. This is probably how much it will cost you to fix it.
Yeah.
And you could probably consider negotiating that amount off the asking price. So yeah, and then also the opposite side of that, if you're looking to sell your RTO, preparing that audit before you go to market so that there is no room for negotiation on the other side, because the rectification work may have already occurred. So getting that asking price that you really want, because you've built up your baby and now you're looking to sell.
Yeah, and being able to sell in a, I guess in a really ethical manner then as well, because I mean, I find the fact that they make it so difficult to sell RTOs is I mean, it's very unique to our industry. And there you shouldn't have any problems. It's a business, you should be able to sell it, but it is really important, that due diligence side, and being like, what are you handing over? Are you handing over 3 years of mess, that needs to be cleaned up, $100,000 of development work because every assessment tool needs to be redeveloped,
Exactly.
And all the risk that then comes along with that.
Yeah, and also government risk too. If they've got any government funding, is there a potential for recovery of funds? And so if they come and audit, which they can do, well, I'll use Queen's as an example, they can come back up as far as 6 years and audit you. So if they come back and audit all 6 years of the files and they're all recovery of funds, which is, we've never seen that happen, but they do have the potential to do that. That's a massive risk and potentially could close that RTO down.
Yeah.
So they really need to consider that.
Yeah, working with the, I suppose, lawyers to make sure that liability has been quantified within the share sale agreement is really, really important. To protect both parties, I feel like, in that instance, but more so the incoming purchaser.
Yeah,
So yeah, we get a
definitely.
lot of DDs, which is good. And I think,
Oh,
Pardon?
sorry. We're going to touch on that more in just a minute, but I am conscious of the time that we've already been going
Okay.
for 20 minutes. Guys, if you guys want to find out any information on Hawkeye Consultancy, we're going to have all of the details below so you can see where you can follow Katya and Alicia and Hawkeye on LinkedIn, links to their actual website and all of their other social medias. If you've liked what you've seen so far, we've got 2 more parts to this interview coming up. So make sure you click like and subscribe. If you disagree with anything that we've said, by all means, disagree, but do so and duke it out respectfully. My name is Lauren Hollows. I'm here with Katya and Alicia from Hawkeye Consultancy, and we will be back in just a few minutes, but for you guys, we'll be back in a few days, and we will see you then.